Thanks for joining us today. This is Travis Van Cleef from iDesign Solutions. I'd like to thank you for joining us, and we're going to take a look at Autodesk Digital Steam and how it can help you in your classroom. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Autodesk, Autodesk is a leading design software developer, and they distribute software all over the world, and it's used pretty much everywhere you go. For those of you unfamiliar with iDesign Solutions, we are a value-added education reseller for Autodesk and a whole bunch of other products. If you're interested in seeing some of the products that iDesign sells, you can take a look at us on our website at www.idesignsol.com. And as you can see, we sell a whole bunch of stuff: Wacom, Vex Robotics, ZBrush, some tutorials like 3D Made Easy, EdgeCam, and Visioneer, and all of this we dedicate to the education sector. So today we're going to take a little bit of a look at the Digital Steam solution and essentially how you can leverage that within your classroom. So to access Digital Steam, you can type into your web browser curriculum.autodesk.com, and you'll see that it's full of resources for you and your students. So we're going to quickly review the Digital Steam site, and as you can see, STEAM is an acronym for Science, Technology, Engineering, Architecture, and Math. Then we're going to go over how you would choose a Digital Steam project to use in your class, and we're going to talk about how you would leverage that project packet. And to do this, we're going to use a sample called Green Cabin Design. I'm going to take a look at some of the learning videos. And then last but not least, we're going to take a look at Autodesk Education Community and see how that can help you out as well. So once you type in curriculum.autodesk.com, it'll take you to the home page of Digital Steam Workshop. And this home page, it shows some videos. These are videos for the different projects that you'll see throughout the site, and it's got some news. So anytime that there's an update to the site, you'll see it here. Right on this one here, you see new this week. You don't have to be an expert to teach software, and that's located in level 1 in the creative resources section. So moving along, we'll take a look at some of the software. Some of the software that you'll see is 3ds Max, AutoCAD, Inventor, Revit, and then if you hit this scroll button over to the right, you'll see that they've got Autodesk Maya in there as well. So there are download links to all this software, and then if you click on any of these links, it'll take you to the Autodesk website and give you a little bit more information on the software itself, where you also see links for features, releases, white papers, all kinds of information at your fingertips. So the third component of the Home tab is certification, and in this video you'll see some testimony from students that have become certified, and they discuss how it's given them a little bit more of a competitive advantage moving forward in their careers. If you're interested in learning more about certification with Certiport, by all means you can give us a call and we can get you started on certification within your school as well. There's also a little bit more information down below this summary at autodesk.com certified user. So we'll move forward into level 1, and level 1 essentially gets the student ready for design education and lays the groundwork for moving forward into level 2 and level 3 and actually working with the software in a project-based learning environment. So in our first category, you have what is 3D. Essentially, this is just an introductory. There's a video and a little summary talking about how 3D design is pretty much everywhere you go, whether it's the toothbrush you're using first shot in the morning to the BMW that you hope to one day drive to work. Once we move over to industry and careers, we've got some more interesting videos from industry professionals who are leveraging the software in their career and providing the best product and support they can to their customers using the Autodesk software. As you scroll over to the right, you can see there are quite a number of industry professionals in these interviews talking about the different work that they do, whether it's architecture, mechanical engineering, aerodynamics, video games, animation. It's all in these videos here. Once you move forward into design tools, we get some neat interactive stuff that'll really drive the concepts home as far as these design fundamentals go. Now this might take a little bit to load up. This is a Unity web player, so you'll want to make sure that you have this installed on your computer. And once we get into the Unity web player, you'll notice that you have this grid, this 3D environment that's very similar to what you see once you open up an Autodesk application. So why don't we get started and take a look at space. We'll click on space. You'll notice that the title comes up, element space. So this is going to start illustrating the evolution of geometry, and before there can be geometry there has to be space for that geometry to occupy. So you see how it says foreground, midground, and background, and as you get to background you start to see the object fade out and lose some of its saturation. If you want to learn more about this one concept, you can come up here to download Visual Design PDF, or you can click here at the bottom where it says learn more, and it'll take you to that corresponding aspect to this PDF. I've got the PDF open right here, so why don't we take a quick look. As you can see, it talks about space, the difference. You can see the difference in saturation from background to foreground, and the strength and precision of the shadows. And if we scroll down a little bit, you'll see a real-life illustration of how this concept actually works, where you see the full-on detail at the foreground, and then as you move to the background you see less detail, and you start to see that horizon line fading out and becoming less saturated. So moving along, if we click on point, you'll see that we have the beginning of our geometry start to take place. So clicking inside the space, you'll see that the point drops and then it comes towards you. And if we click on continue at the bottom, now we'll get 2 points and the line that creates them. We'll click again, and that line gets some added dimension and becomes a shape. So again, at any point you can come down here and click on the Learn More button, and it'll give you that extra bit of information to drive a concept home. There's also a hands-on activity, and as I mentioned, in level 1 we're really just working at getting the foundation laid for the application work once you get into level 2 and level 3. So let's say open up, let's get the hands-on activity open, and as you can see we're not quite into the software yet, but we've got some hands-on activities just using paper that shows you how to create 3D geometry out of simple 2D paper, essentially by folding these shapes and cutting them to these dimensions. You'll get this shape here. So you can move past elements into principles, and we'll take a look at Unity and another one. To take a look at Unity, we see that we have got 3 different types of Unity, and we've got proximity, which is what's using right now. So if I grab any one of these cubes, it'll become the focal point of all the rest of them, and if I let go, you'll see them redisperse. And if I click on color, any one of these cubes that I choose will actually take on that red color, and the rest of them follow suit. If I choose linear, I can choose a square or a cube here, and as I move my mouse along, you'll start to see all the other cubes fall in line. Now what you also start to see towards the end of elements, I believe it starts in texture, is the Viewcube. The Viewcube is an added component in this little lesson that starts to introduce some of the things that you'll see in an Autodesk application, So before the students even know it, they're already being introduced into different elements of the user interface. So moving on to creative resources, you see here now we've got some more download links for Mudbox and Sketchbook Designer. Mudbox is a great little tool. It's used in a lot of Hollywood film productions for animated characters and for painting landscapes. A great little program. If you want to download Sketchbook Designer, you also have that option here. Sketchbook Designer is a great application for anybody who's a fan of Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop, or especially both. You get the workflows and the capabilities of both of those applications in one, which makes for a really powerful program when you're starting out with a concept. You also have entries for color and design, visual development, and understanding texturing. So if we click on any of these, you'll see that to the right you have a little summary and an image, and there's also a link to download that part of the lesson plan. So if I click on download file, you'll see that it prompts me to download a zip file with all the contents of the texturing lesson. Same thing for visual development and color and design. So these are great resources for the first aspect of using digital STEAM, as it introduces the students into design fundamentals and gets them speaking in the terminology of designers. And last but not least, for creative resources, is you don't have to be an expert to teach software. So this edition was what they'd mentioned in the home screen, and it's a new edition, and it's quite important. And one of the things that educators face as a challenge is that there's so much software and it's hard to keep ahead of the curve. Well, what Autodesk implies is that you don't have to be an expert in each application to teach it properly. What they say is more or less, if you can use digital STEAM and you're resourceful, you'll be able to guide the students so that they can help themselves to all the resources that are available to them. So this is a great little addition, like I said, and the creed is, don't be a sage on the stage, be a guide on the side, and help facilitate the self-education of the students that they're becoming more adept with anyway. So if we move forward into sustainability, you'll see a video of a whole systems design, and in the following two videos underneath they go through the life cycle of this project, and I believe what they're discussing is a washing machine and some of the peripheral subjects and implications of that design. So typically in the past we design products fully with the intention of their end use being the success. And as we've evolved, we've noticed that there's more to a design than just a successful end use. There's those environmental impacts and the things that happen around the design, what it takes to build it. Is it economically feasible? Where are the products coming from to manufacture that design? These are the sort of things that get mentioned in a whole system design process. And so watching this video will give you a bit of an introduction to that. And as you'll notice throughout the contents of the site, you'll see that there's an element of sustainability in all of the digital STEAM projects. As it's becoming more important in industry, it's becoming more important in education as well. So the sooner that students are exposed to sustainability, the more advantageous it'll be for them. So moving forward to skills, this section of the site contains some syllabi in PDF format. So if we open up one of these PDFs for, say, Inventor, it'll take you over to, you have a PDF essentially with some nice illustrations that have been done in Inventor. You can see that there's a stress analysis being done on this aspect of this front-end loader, and there's a link to Certiport and an introduction to the PDF. But moving into the core of this document are the topics here. So as you can see, you've got, it starts with user interface, So you have primary environments where it discusses different file types, so parts, assemblies, presentations, and drawings. And then moves forward to user interface navigation and interaction till you get to the end where you get into some really advanced stuff like creating presentations and adaptive features. So for all the components of the Inventor program, there are topics in here with links that will take you to the online knowledge base for this application. So at any given time I might want to learn more about constraints for sketches in Inventor. So I could come back and find sketch constraints and then click on the link here in reference, and it's going to ask me to open up another Autodesk page. So when I click on that link, it takes me to the Inventor page, which you can see they've already updated to 2013, and you have all the most current up-to-date topics. So you can search Inventor up here in the top and put in sketch constraints. Oh, guess we don't have the 13 stuff available yet. But 2012 is all populated. So in each of these there's a link to a little bit of information that will take you further into that topic. So all these syllabi can be used in the same way if you have interest in Revit or AutoCAD or Maya, 3ds Max. You can download these PDFs, and anywhere you have an internet connection you can actually link back to those specific parts of the Autodesk knowledge base. So this will become very important once you get into level 2, as well as the digital study packets. And the digital study packets consist of very thorough and concise videos for learning certain topics. So as you can see right now, we're in the Revit component of the digital study packets. If I wanted to learn something about Maya, a certain aspect, say NURB surface creation and display, I come down here to the bottom and click on that, and it'll open up this video. And all the videos are relatively short. This one's about 5 minutes long, which is essentially a longer video for the digital study packets. Some of them are only a minute long, so it makes it really easy to digest. You get the answers to your questions, and you can take that away and move on with your project. So as you can see, there's the 5 different software packages and then multiple pages of videos if you scroll over to the right as well. So last but not least, for level 1, you have a testing section where you can choose to be tested in any of these applications. And the tests themselves aren't very long, and they're not overly difficult if you've done the work. So to know that you're ready for a level 2 project work, you do one of these quick tests and move on. So that said, we'll start taking a look at level 2. So level 2 is where you are introduced into project-based learning, and you're able to choose your project in several different ways. You can choose your project by software, or by subject, by difficulty level, or by time. So we'll take a quick look back at our PowerPoint here. And this is a little bit of a table that we've put together on how to choose a project. Choosing a project based on subject, you might be learning architecture, you might be learning mechanical engineering or animation. And so next to that, moving to the right, following the logic, it gives you the software that's relative to that subject. If you're just simply interested in learning a software, then you can just go to this heading here, and you'll see that there's AutoCAD, Revit, Inventor, Maya, and now there's 3ds Max as well. So we've listed some of the projects that are available to you at beginner and intermediate level. These would be the 1-brain or 2-brain projects, and then moving further along you would get into the 3-brain projects, which usually have more time involved as well. So we'll take a look back here, and we'll enter in by software. So because we take a look at green cabin design, I'm going to go to Revit, And again, you see the symbol, the icon for math, science, architecture, engineering, and art. And it breaks it down into how many hours are involved. So you have a 1 to 5 hours to do green cabin design. Shouldn't take much longer to do that. But if you wanted to move on to something more challenging, as you can see with 2 brains, then you can see that it takes 15 plus hours, but still the same subjects are covered. If we move over to say Maya, you'll see some different subjects covered, different hours, and different difficulty levels. So we'll go back to green cabin design. And on the first level, you'll be introduced to the project and what is required. Typically you'll have a challenge and some design constraints, and then the solution that's provided. So green cabin design is a project that was brought forth by Ben and his team at Free Green, and essentially a fellow purchased a set of plans for a cabin, but there was some additional design constraints. They had a limited budget, and they also needed to add a second bedroom. So the following videos show how they go about solving that problem and staying within the design constraints. And essentially these videos will just get you familiar with the project itself. Once you've read the summary and taken a look at the videos, you've completed the understand section of the design thinking process, and you can go into the project packet and explore it a little bit further. So again, you'll have your Unity web player installed, and you'll be able to see further into these project packets. If we want to take a look at some of the renders, we can come up to this scroll button here, and you can see a more modern version of the green cabin design. And there's some interior renders as well. And you should note as well that this is all done just with Revit. No other V-Ray. This is simply just Revit and the Mental Ray engine. And if we go into construction, you can see a simple massing model. And then in Refine, we're able to see some extra content. So you have a wireframe version, that same shaded version from construction, and the final rendered version with materials. Something else that's really interesting in these project packs is they have a final presentation component, and this one is a little mini video game where you can actually go into the environment and take a look at what was designed. So they've dropped this Revit model into Unity game engine and allowed one to go in using first-person shooter technology. So I find that this is very advantageous as a learning tool because it uses something that students are very familiar with, which is video games, and it applies that same technology into their education. So this should be pretty paramount in getting a student enthused into his design career or her design career. So we'll come back and take a look at the green cabin design in a little bit. I want to move forward and take a look at level 3. Essentially, level 3 is implemented in the same way as level 2, only these projects become a little bit more advanced. So this is something in maybe later secondary school that you could start using in that part of their education. We'll take a look at team projects. So one of the nice things about the team projects is that they're for multiple people and they use multiple applications. So as you can see, again, we've got some different subjects covered, and they're both 90-hour projects. So compared to a 1 to 5 hour project like green cabin design, you can see that these are a lot more advanced as far as time goes, and they also have the 3 brains. So multiple applications, multiple people. These projects are good if, say, for instance, you have a student who's more advanced in AutoCAD and wants to increase his skills in 3ds Max. So he could join the 3ds Max component of the team, and then if anybody else needed his expertise in the AutoCAD side of things, he would be available to them. And it kind of initiates that group dynamic of the design process. So there's also the individual projects as well, which you choose by software, and we'll just take a quick look at some of these. So an electric vehicle design, 30 hours and 3 brains, and again you see some of the topics that are covered. So to see some of the past work that students have done, you can come into the gallery page, and again you can choose by application. So we'll go check out the Maya page. You can see some new stuff. Here's that rat from the Animation Academy stuff from a couple of years ago. And there's also some new stuff. So the gallery is always being updated. You'll see some new stuff every now and then. This is a render that I haven't seen before. And I know there's some new ones in here for Revit as well. This one's new. And so this is some pretty good quality rendering. If you want to take a look at a nice new restaurant, you can mouse over these images and see what this student has done. I like this bathroom one. This is a nice render. So if any of your students are proud and they want to have their work seen, maybe enhance their portfolio leaving school, they can always go to the teacher resources section in contact, and there's a link for gallery submissions there as well. If at any time you have feedback for Digital STEAM, you can also send that to digitalsteam@autodesk.com as well. So we kind of moved forward a little bit. We'll go back to lesson plans in teacher resources. So this is very beneficial, as it has all the key components for a lesson plan laid out. If you're looking for a project overview or key terms and learning objectives, you can come here and just click on these highlights. So there's a page for every one of the projects on Digital STEAM. So if we want to take a look at what the learning outcomes would be for Green Cabin, we could go click on Green Cabin and come up here, see learning objectives, and it clearly illustrates what we'd be getting out of this project. So that said, there's also all your teacher resources, so your project brief, your lesson plan, your pre-test, post-test, and standards, project asset list. This is all available in a zip file, and you can click and download the teacher resources right here all together, and just by clicking on that, it should take you to a login page. So it's saying these materials are restricted to educators only. So if you do have a registration with education community, you can go in here and download these project videos and all the other resources that you need. So I'm just going to navigate back, and we'll take a look at this page briefly. Project Lead the Way essentially is more for the US, and it's a standardization for education. And when Digital STEAM was developed, they took a hard look at some of the standards that were incorporated into Project Lead the Way and developed the projects as to incorporate those standards and meet them fully. So if you're interested in Project Lead the Way, you've got some more information that introduces you into that program and some of the videos that are involved as well. There's also the Advisory Council. So this is more or less the people, the genius behind the development of Digital STEAM. And if you take a look, you can see there are links beside their name. So if we click on Alex, it'll take us over to his page here on the right. If we choose Ben, this is the fellow that we saw earlier with Green Cabin Design at Free Green. There's a link to his website and a little bit of a summary on who he is and what he's done. Another fellow to mention here is Eddie Mack. He's one of our strategic partners with 3dmadeeasy.com, and if you're ever looking for some great tutorial videos, you can look at our website. Again, it's iDesign Solutions or iDesignSOL.com, and we can get you in touch with Eddie and get you some of his education material. It's great stuff. And last but not least, for Digital STEAM, we'll take a look at the curriculum library. So this is archived project material, and if you click on any of these links, it'll take you to external pages on the Autodesk website with a whole bunch more information and resources available to you. So if you're interested in animation, you can come here to the Read More link, and it opens up some more curriculum material from the past Animation Academy. If you're more interested in architecture and sustainability, you've got one here from 2011, the Green Literacy and Architectural Design Curriculum. Oh, where'd it go? Oh. So this one actually links back to the education community. And as you see, it's 3 parts. You've got the Introduction to Sustainability, Architectural Basics, and Architectural Challenge. So again, more project-based learning. And this last one is really complete and really thorough, is the Maya vehicle for games. So if we open up this one, you'll see again a summary underneath, and then a link to launch this subsite. So if you come in here, you see it opens up another web page, and you can click on the icon over here at the left, and then it opens up a whole series of lessons that discuss some of the concepts of creating a vehicle for Maya for a video game. So it takes it right from the conceptual stage. Let's give it a sec to load. They discuss some of the design components where you're working right at the beginning and just sketching, all the way to the very end where you should have a really realistic looking video game asset. So again, these are concepts put together with Sketchbook Designer and then taken into Maya for the end result. So more great stuff, lots to look at. So that's a quick review of Digital STEAM Workshop. I want to return quickly back to Green Cabin Design and just take a quick look at how we would go about implementing Digital STEAM Workshop and the project-based learning videos in the classroom. So we'll open up Green Cabin Design, and we'll go to the project packet. Once you've familiarized yourself with the project and got a handle on how they're trying to solve the challenge, you come into project packet, and again, it's opening up our Unity 3D where we've already been. But along the top you'll see some links for some project assets. So you have 3D files, which would be your Revit files, data files, drawing PDFs, which is going to show you the complete project in image format, and learning videos. So from these learning videos, they'll discuss a little bit of the concepts used within the software to achieve the desired result. So I've got one here from Green Cabin. And what you do is go through these videos and see what she's actually trying to do, and just record those. Jot down what she's actually doing.
Once you have made the desired changes to the floor plan, you can check the corresponding schedules in Revit Architecture to see how adding a second bedroom will affect the quantity of materials required. You do this to make sure the changes do not exceed the client's budget. You can see that Revit automatically generates building surface data as changes are made to the design, such as wall area and floor area. You should also verify that the section and elevation views are updated accordingly and make any necessary annotation changes at this time.
So what she's discussing in this video is more or less the schedules and making sure that everything stayed within budget and met those design constraints. So what I would want to do is find the video that discussed schedules, and I would come back to level 1 and go into the digital study packets, and let's just take a look at some of the contents that we have in the Revit videos. So we have views, levels, walls, doors. Move over to the next page. And there we see it, schedules. So we can click on create schedules, and there's a quick video that we can watch that'll discuss our options in Revit for creating schedules. So now we've got our key points jotted down. We see what she did in the learning video, come to this video and record some of the processes and then implement them within the application.
A schedule is a tabular list of element properties in a building model. Each property of an element is represented as a field in the schedule. When creating a schedule, you specify the object type you want to create the schedule for, and then specify the fields you want to display in the schedule. You can also sort the rows that display in the
So she goes over the process of creating a schedule and shows you how to go in and edit those after the fact. So again, a very quick video. It's only 1 minute and 45 seconds long, so very easy to digest, and then you can move on to your project and get that aspect of it complete. And you might think going into the project, well, how am I going to do this all in 1 to 5 hours like it says? But this is how they keep the learning pace quick and exciting. It's by keeping the videos short and the hands-on applied approach to be the bulk of the education, where the students are actually implementing that education with their hands. So that's just a little bit of the procedure on using digital STEAM in your classroom. And what I'd like to show briefly now is just a quick overview of the education community. So you can link to the education community at the top of the Digital STEAM workshop, or you can type in students.autodesk.com. So to gain full benefit of digital STEAM, you'd want to register, and you'd want to register yourself as faculty, and this will give you access to all the learning resources and lesson plans within digital STEAM. But once you get access to education community, you also have access to a whole bunch of other assets. So as you can see on the left hand side, I'm logged in and I have a page here for my software, my profile, my group, my school, my designs. I haven't used too much of this yet, but if I wanted to share some of my designs and I was working in a group setting for a certain project, you can actually use the education community site as a collaboration tool. You can find more learning materials and support on the education community, and you can actually get free software on here that you can use up to 36 months. So we'll take a quick look at this. We'll come up here to the top where it says free software. And if I scroll down, you'll see that it says recommended for me. Well, it's telling me that I should look into Inventor Professional. If I want to download Inventor Professional or any of these other products, which has the entire Autodesk product listing here, you can come up, select the version. I want 2010, or maybe I want the most current version, so I'll select 2012. I'll choose English for my language and Windows 64-bit, and then press next. Now it's going to give me a serial number and a product key, so I'm not going to move into that. But what you can do with that is install that on your student computer or your home use computer, and you can use this for the next 3 years. Now it's not to be used for commercial applications, but it'll give you a competitive advantage in moving forward in your career or teaching your students. So this will help you stay ahead of the curve. So last but not least, if you have any questions, you can give us a call, or you can visit us at our website, and this is our contact information. So again, our website is iDesignSOL.com. We have a survey for the presentation at /learn if you want to fill that out and give us some feedback. It's always appreciated. And if you have any other questions, you can email me at travis@iDesignSOL.com, or you can give us a call at the following number. Thanks everybody for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye.